I've been a pilot for about 21 years, and I've been flying the Goodyear airship for about 10 years now. One of my favorite events is Oshkosh right here. I just love it. I could stay up there all day. And you get about 1,000 landings underneath your belt, and then you start to feel a little bit comfortable with it. I never imagined I'd be a Goodyear Blimp pilot. For one thing, I grew up in Akron, Ohio, which is the corporate headquarters of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. And as a pilot, I wanted to go on to the airlines, and it just so happened I got the Goodyear job. And I started off on the Florida airship crew and got transferred back to my hometown, which is Akron. And I started off in aviation in college, and I went all through school for aviation. Taking care of the airship, my mechanics days were quite interesting because when I first started, didn't know if I could handle the job because I was used to working on aircraft that stayed in one spot. But when I started working on the airship, it kind of moves around a little bit, and I don't know if you can see that in the background, but it's always in motion, so it's quite challenging to be a mechanic on the blimp. Well, actually, when I came to Goodyear, I had a commercial fixed-wing license in airplanes, and with my mechanics license, that's how I got my foot in the door to the company. And once you get inside, you get trained for about 300 to 400 hours, and it works out to about 6 months worth of training. And it's only single controls, so there's no dual controls with your instructor, so it's a little bit different. And you get about 1,000 landings underneath your belt, and then you start to feel a little bit comfortable with it. The first time I flew the blimp was very exciting, and it was almost like floating in a bubble. That's how I compare the airship to flying in the skies.
You've heard of this thing called WAAS, right? The Wide Area Augmentation System lets you fly GPS glide path approaches without relying on ground-based landing aids. No VOR, no ILS, no problem. Fact is, WAAS is so smart, it even knows what you're going to say next time you need it. And don't have it on board. Wah, wah, I want my WAAS now! I was really crying there for a second.
There's a total of 3 ships in the United States. We have one in Pompano Beach, Florida, which is just north of Fort Lauderdale. And also we have one in Carson, California, which is in the LA basin. Between our airship and the Florida airship, we cover east of the Rocky Mountains. So we'll cross paths many times throughout the summer because we have different events to get to. One of my favorite events is Oshkosh right here. We have a good time. There's a lot of interest in the blimp, and we love flying here, seeing all the different aircraft as well. The normal travel for a Goodyear blimp pilot, it consists of about 100 to 110, 20 days on the road a year. And we travel from town to town, and we're out on the road about, again, I said 100 to 120, but we're out 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And then we go back to our base in Akron for a few weeks, then go back out. So it's not all the time on the road. The Akron crew, we have 5 pilots on our crew, and that gives us enough room to have one on vacation. So we only have 4 here when we're in Oshkosh right now. Yeah, the crew consists of 21 people, and you get to know them pretty well since you're pretty intimate with them traveling on the road. They all have specialties on our crew. We have people that take care of our administrative work. We have people that take care of our vehicles. We have people that take care of our fabric and all the rigging that has to be done on the airship. So everybody has a specialty. They just don't help land the airship. They have other duties to do as well. 80% of the time the airship beats the crew where we're going to. So what happens is, if we were to leave here today to, say, go down to Chicago, they would launch the airship, pack up all our equipment, the mast and all the apparatus below the mast, get on the road, and then meet us in Chicago. And usually if we don't have hard headwinds, we'll beat them, the crew, to where we're going to. No, we don't race per se, because it's all in a day's pay for me, so
Cirrus Design's Vision SJ50 single-engine personal jet offers exceptional fuel efficiency, flexible seating for up to 7, advanced avionics, and all the Cirrus safety features you expect, including the Cirrus airframe parachute system. With its detailed design, the Cirrus Vision is technologically advanced, yet engineered to be simple to fly, to allow owner pilots more lifestyle pursuits than any other personal aircraft. Learn more about the Vision SJ50 at cirrusdesign.com.
As you can see right now, we're moored to the mooring mast, and that's where the airship stays overnight, and it'll swing around that pole where it needs to be. It's like a giant windsock. When we're ready to go flying, what happens is the crew all gets around the airship and they kind of take us off that mast, and they'll move us to an area away of any obstacles. And then once we get to that area and we're cleared for takeoff, the airship will go flying. And usually what happens is the crew will bounce the airship and then I'll go flying. And that's kind of like how it goes with getting the airship launched. The controls on the airship consist of an elevator wheel that's down by your right leg, and it controls the elevators, which control the pitch up and pitch down of the airship, which in turn controls our altitude. So if I want to climb or descend, I use that wheel on the side. Down in front for steering, we have the rudder pedals, and what those do is they move the vertical surfaces, which are called the rudders. And if I want to go right, I hit the right pedal. If I want to go left, I hit the left pedal. So that's the basics of flying the airship. The process of coming down is usually pointing the nose towards the ground, because unlike an airplane, the airship doesn't always want to come down since it's so buoyant. So you usually roll the wheel over and push the airship down towards the ground. And once you know you have it coming down, then it kind of flares like a regular aircraft. Stronger winds we're not able to fly in. If the winds get around 25 to 30, it's pretty critical for the airship, so we pretty much call it quits when it gets up that high in wind speed. But we fly in all kinds of conditions, say rain, light rain. In Akron we fly in snow throughout the winter if the visibility and ceilings are good enough, so it can take quite a bit, but you know, we know when to call it quits when it's too much. My favorite part about being a Goodyear Blimp pilot is the people, probably, because they're always excited to go on the airship, and whether they're on the ground watching somebody fly or they're flying themselves, it brings excitement and cheer to everybody, so that's why I like to be a Goodyear Blimp pilot. When I tell people, when they ask me what I do for a living, and I tell them I'm a Goodyear Blimp pilot, the first thing that happens, they're in a state of disbelief because there's not many blimp pilots in the country. Then after they kind of start believing you, then their next question is, how can I get a ride on the airship? So it's kind of and it most of the time always happens that way. But I love it. Every person I meet, that's one of the fun things about the job. Every person I meet is different, and I like to tell them about the airship. I just love it. I could stay up there all day.